Ready? Call this meeting of September 23rd, 2019 of the Atwater City Council to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Garrett Creighton and then the invocation by Pastor Don Borgwartz. Please remain standing for the invocation also. Ready? Salute.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please join me in prayer. Father God, we are just so thankful for the fact that we can come before you to request your counsel and understanding of these events tonight. We pray for our council that has so diligently been turning around our community and the improvements that they've made here. We just ask, Father, you give them a spirit of discernment and understanding of the issues tonight that come before them. We pray for those police officers and fire that are out there still serving on the front line. We ask for your safety with them. We ask your guidance for that. We just thank you, Father, for the fact that you are working in this community as you are. And we pray this in Jesus' name. Amen.
Roll call.
Ambrose?
Here.
Kale?
Here.
Raymond? Here. Vieira is absent. Creighton?
Here.
We have a quorum.
Mayor or our city attorney report out of closed session.
Mayor, the city council considered 2 items under closed session tonight. Direction was given to staff. No reportable action was taken.
Subsequent need items. City attorney.
Yes, Mayor, there is one subsequent need item that we do have that we need to add to the agenda, and that is the approving of an urgency purchase order with Shannon Pump Company for some repairs that need to be done for well number 18. Since the agenda was posted, the Brown Act requires certain findings to be made and the council to actually vote to place this item on the agenda. The item also requires some urgency and that it came to the attention of staff after the agenda was posted. Last Friday, staff did have communications with Shannon Pump Company. They had hired or they had brought Shannon Pump Company on board to look at well 18 because there was some leaks. After they examined well 18, it seems as though there's a lot of work that needs to be done, $34,000 of work, and this really can't wait till the next council meeting. As you know, we're still in some hot months where we need all our wells on in order to meet peak demands and just to make sure our water pressure doesn't go down. The item, again, it came after the agenda was posted. The communication with Shannon Pump happened. There is urgency to it, and Mayor does require 2/3 vote of the council to place it on the agenda. It's staff's recommendation that if it's placed on the agenda, that it be placed as the last item, and it would take a motion and a second and a vote, Mayor.
Okay. At this time, I'll open up to public comment. Any members of the public want to come forward to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public. Okay, we'll leave the public comment open for just a bit.
Marianne Amarant, Atwater, California. This definitely needs to be addressed as soon as possible. It's a whole water issue. It's a big deal. I think I would appreciate if you guys would take it into consideration and put it on the agenda because we need to address our water issue. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public want to come forward? Seeing none, we'll close public comment, bring it back to the dais. Council, what's your pleasure?
I'd like to make a motion that we put this on the agenda.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Raymond.
Raymond?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Approval of agenda as posted or amended.
Motion to approve the agenda as amended.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Ambrose.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Ceremonial matters. We're going to do a few things tonight. We have about 3. We're going to start first with the oath of office for the reserve police officers. So the 3 of you guys, they were just in the back room. Hey there. Chief, you want to bring them up and I'll meet you down there? And then after that, we're going to do the high school floral band and the Marine Corps. You have the microphone.
1, 2.
Let's introduce them first, Chief, before we get started.
Okay. Tonight, I'm honored to have three of our newest, finest, come before you today. This represents 10% of the police department right here. So we had, when the mayor is done, he will have increased the police department by 10% in personnel. I've been fortunate enough to have these three come through the testing process. They all have various experiences from a lot of different agencies. They've all got some sort of law enforcement background, one way, shape, form, or another. And they've chose Atwater to come and ply their trade. So we're now up to, we're at 25 sworn and now 5 reserves. And the 5 reserves are really what are going to help us move the department even further than we've moved it before. As all of you know, police officers are not cheap. A police officer costs us about $200,000 to put on the street. These people are much more efficient, much cheaper, unfortunately. But they're not indispensable and they're not cannon fodder. So, they're going to go through the same program as a regular police officer. They're going to be trained the same way. They're going to, once they're done with their FTO program, they'll be able to handle calls for service by themselves. To introduce them, I'll start with Mason Harris. He comes to us from the California State Park System and the Mariposa County Sheriff's Office. Emily Huckabee, she's got some supporters in here tonight. Emily works for the Merced County District Attorney's Office, and she's a latent print expert. So we're going to use her skill, a latent print expert. She classifies fingerprints, and she's an expert in that field, so we're glad to have her. And Nicolette Moulton, she comes to us from the California Highway Patrol. She worked for the Highway Patrol and decided that real law enforcement was better. And with all of that, I'm really happy to have them. I'm sure the community is going to be happy to see them. We're going to try to get them out on the street as quickly as possible in FTO programs. So if the DA's office can just release Emily to us and pay her bill, we'll be good to go. So Mayor, without further ado, please do us the honor in swearing these three in.
Okay. Welcome, and thank you guys all for choosing the City of Atwater. It's a winning community. As you can tell from the room here, it's a packed house, standing room only, some people out in the lobby. So you've chose the right community. We look forward to the addition of some female officers, long overdue. So we don't currently have one. So this is going to be a nice addition. And another male officer. So this is going to be pretty awesome. And behind you guys is our police department back there. There's about, looks like 10 or 12 of you guys back there. So there's a good support here. We got the fire department back there. So, you guys ready? Okay, I got to do this with one hand also.
I'll hold it for you.
There you go. So,
Raise your right hand.
please raise your right hand and repeat. I'll state this and then you just solemnly.
Say yes.
Okay. Do you, Mason Harris, Emily Huckabee, Nicolette Moulton, solemnly swear that you will support and defend the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that you will bear true faith and allegiance to the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the State of California, that you take this obligation freely without any mental reservation or purpose of evasion, and that you will well and faithfully discharge the duties for which you are about to enter? Yes. Congratulations. Okay. So we do it a little bit different here. The chief's going to do the badges, and then after the badges, we're going to have family members come up and take pictures with them. So don't rush off the stage here just yet. Chief, take it away.
Thank you. First thing we got to do is the mayor swore at you. Now you get to sign on the dotted line. So why don't you guys come up here and sign your oaths?
There's 2 for each one of you.
Sign one, take one. And then the family members that are going to pin the badges on Emily and Nicolette, could you guys come up?
Sign this one as well.
I need the original with the, Lori, do they get the? Okay, you get the original. I get the copy.
Mike Salvador, nice to meet you.
That way you can copy. And here you go. Otherwise, the city clerk will have me. And the next page.
Okay, now they're official. So, for purposes of pictures, we'll start with Emily first. So you can come on up and pin her.
Thank you.
You are.
We'll do this again and again.
And Nicolette, you're next. If you draw blood, you get 10 points. While he's pinning, these are the last 3 people that will be pinned with this particular badge. The next time we pin officers, it will be in our new uniforms with our new badges. All right, Mason, I get to do these honors.
Okay, now before we go anywhere else, all the police officers in the back, come up here for a group photo with your new troops.
You 3 up front?
Yep.
You're in the middle.
You guys go up on the dais. You two go on the dais. You guys go up on the dais.
Yeah, got it. Here. Unless you want to do one. All right, let's balance it out, guys. Oh, no, you cannot have that. No. No. Center us up.
All right, that way about one person there. No, you guys in the back, right there. Perfect.
One for the paper, guys.
If the family wants to take a picture, you guys can stand up and take a picture so you can get them.
Family members?
Okay?
That's all right. Big day, big day. everybody get one? Miss? You good?
Okay, so thank you. We're going to wait now. Let the family come up with the individuals.
Yep.
So you guys can all head back to the wall. All right. Thank you very much.
Hang on, Mason. This is family time. Any family members? Come on up. Turn on your
Kate's like, never mind.
Soon, Billy. Are you ready? Smile.
I do. There's yours. Get rid of TikTok. I think so.
Hey, Kaden, stay over here. Just so that way they're all on yours.
Get your pictures?
Yeah, I'm gonna take some of that down.
All right.
Kaden!
First act. Like solid.
Talking, right? Yes, sir. Oh, all three of them? Oh, this is a motley crew. Awesome. Here, come here. Come here. Ready? 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 Give me bumps. Doubles. No, I'm bumps. Give me bumpies. Bumpies. Like that? The other one. Go. Where's Glenn? Glenn!
Snuck in. It's a rowdy bunch.
Cool. Congratulations. Congratulations.
Got a reserve spot. I don't know.
Want to stand for your ball?
Yes,
Hey, John. How you doing? It's going. All right. Haven't seen you in a couple days.
You got it? Okay. Okay. So now that we've sworn in 3 new people and we've increased our force by 10%, we've done a lot of new things this year in Atwater. Atwater's been kind of new, and we tried to rebrand it. So our next item of the agenda is, recently we had our 9/11 ceremony, and it was definitely different. We moved it from its traditional 5 o'clock in the evening position to mirror the actual 9/11 ceremonies they handle nationwide. Normally a 9/11 ceremony is done at time adjusted for time zone at the time the towers were actually attacked, which on the East Coast at that time was about 8:46 in the morning. So we moved ours to the morning for the first time, and we've got a lot of young people in here that we're going to honor for their participations in this ceremony. The first people we'd like to honor is our Atwater FFA students. So if you guys would come up. These 2 young ladies here were responsible for the wreath that we presented at the 9/11 ceremony and sat in the atrium here of City Hall for about a week. And they did such a wonderful job that I thought it was appropriate for us to recognize their accomplishments. So if you could please tell us your name and what grade you're in and how long you've been in FFA.
Okay, I am Perla Caballero. I'm a junior, and I've been in FFA for 3 years.
My name's Saprit Gandhok, and I'm a junior also, and I've been in FFA for 3 years.
I'm Paul Creighton, I'm the mayor. I want to present this to, and Ms. Davenport, please come up here.
Come up.
So this is really special because this is a technical trade skill. If you've never been out to the Atwater Ag Department and seen the floral department, it's a sight to see. It's a first-class, regular florist department. It's amazing what they do there. They've got, you walk in there, you get the tour. They've got a walk-in refrigerator. They've got everything. They just had a tour out there with the senator, the assemblyman, the superintendent of schools. They had a lot of heavy hitters here in Atwater, and I was in the room when you guys were all working. It was pretty impressive. So you got a lot of kudos from the state of California all the way to the Capitol. So great job. And the wreath that you guys presented on 9/11 was the most beautiful wreath I've ever seen. I've been to the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, and you guys are that good. So congratulations. Thank you very much. If there's any family members with these 2, you guys can come up too right now. Are there any family members? Okay. All right, great. Smile. Okay, thank you. We got one more for the paper.
They'll let the paper guy in.
Okay, excellent. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Thanks, girls. Thank you very much.
We'll do the band next. Okay, the Atwater High School band. Where's the teacher at? There he is.
Come on up.
I want to introduce him separate. Can you open that up, Chief? I want to introduce him. I forget your first name. Michael. So Michael's kept the band going. You have about 100 and some kids in there. How many? 125, 130. It's huge. It's huge. So the band did a great job. They performed out there before the 9/11 ceremony, during, and a little bit after, and you guys did an awesome job. You're really changing things with the band. It's really come up a lot. And at the homecoming parade, I got to watch you guys march by, and it was just wonderful. It's beautiful what you're doing. And these kids need music in their life, it's a skill. It helps them, mentally develop and everything else. So I'm really glad that the band's growing and getting stronger, and you're encouraging the grade school to do even better so you get good feeder kids. So, Chief, you want to say something?
No, I can't express any more what the mayor's already said. I'd like all the kids up here, all the band members, all of you. They were amazing, and I found out that I had a lot in common with a lot of them here. 37 years ago, I was a band guy. I played percussion and clarinet and bass clarinet and saxophone, and I was the drum major my senior year. So this is in recognition of your performance on 9/11. We look forward to seeing you guys again next year, so mark your calendars, because I'll be calling back. And maybe we'll have a battle of the bands next year between you and Buhack. There you go. You get to hold this, and these guys get to take the pictures, moms and dads, and get up and get pictures. Take your pianos, your triphones out.
Okay, we're going to have the kids start introducing themselves also. So, Matt, where are you going? No, get up here. Okay, here, I got your back. Introduce yourself and pass the mic to...
My name is... Wait, can you
Speak
hear me?
into it and say who you are.
Hello? Yeah? Okay. My name is Joseph Kemikowski. I play trumpet, and I've been in band for 4 years.
I'm Matthew Kemikowski. I'm a freshman, and I played trumpet for 2 years.
I'm Elijah Lopez, and I'm a percussionist. I've been playing for 4 years.
Hi, my name is Nicole Cardenas. I'm percussionist. I've been in band for 4 years, and I am the band's vice president.
Hello, my name is Sarah Ward, and I've been playing flute for 6 years now. I am the band secretary and second assistant drum major.
Hi, my name's Lillian Sackett. I've been playing trombone for 7 years, and I'm the first assistant drum major.
Hi, my name is Kaya Betchard. I've been playing French horn for 2 years and trumpet for 7.
Hi, my name is Jay Dugdale, and I've been in band for 3 years. I played alto sax freshman year and tenor sax for the past 2 years.
Hi, my name is Hannah Sanchez, and I've been playing flute for 5 years.
Hi, my name is Nandini Patel. I'm a junior, and I've been playing flute for 6 years.
Hi, my name is Aiden O'Haron. I've been playing saxophone for 8 years, and I'm currently serving as the band president.
Hi, my name is Everett. I've been in band for 3 years, and I'm a percussionist. Everett Hill. Sorry.
Pass the mic down to the chief there.
Where's he at?
Down here at the end. I'm the tall guy in the end. I want to thank you guys for your dedication. I want to thank you guys for coming out. And I want to thank you guys for making our 9/11 ceremony a very, very special event. You guys are real pros. If you need anything, give me a holler. Although I can't play anymore. Sorry. Did everybody get pictures that they wanted?
Parents, you guys got your pictures?
Everybody got them?
Okay.
All right, guys.
All right, next one's up.
Dismissed.
Thank you very much. Congratulations, everybody.
(9/11) is usually associated with police officers and firefighters, but There's another group of heroes that we don't, yes, sir, we don't normally, or aren't normally associated with 9/11, but they played an important role on 9/11, and that's our military. And we included them this time in the honor guard for the first time. So Sergeant Zhang and Sergeant Gloria, if you guys could please come up, and the 5 gentlemen in the back of the room, why don't you come with us?
And with these 2 kids right here.
And these 2 kids right here. These, Mike and Peter, come on up. This is our.
You guys know how to balance it, so I want to bring on each side, and then the 3 and 2 upstairs, and you 2 up front. No, here you go.
The young gentlemen in the T-shirts were our ushers for the event, and they got the pleasure of escorting the Gold Star ladies to their chairs. Sergeant Zhang and Sergeant Gloria are recruiters out of the Merced Marine Corps office. They participated in our flag folding ceremony. They were in our honor guard this year. And then we did a flag retirement ceremony where Mike was the retiree, and he retired our flag. He's part of our Marine auxiliary group here in town. They are a regular at my breakfast for with the Chiefs. I was proud to have all of them here.
Where are these guys stationed at here in town? At the Veterans?
The Veterans Park building. They're going to the community center, yes.
You're gonna be at the community center.
So they have an event in November that is supposedly really, really nice, and I hope I'm able to attend it. Oh, no. Okay, well then I won't be able to attend it this year. It'll be next year. So I would like to thank all of you for your participation, all the help you guys provided, Sergeant John and his leadership with this crew especially, and Mr. Mayor, if you please be so kind as to give them the certificates.
Okay, I too echo everything the chief just said. Thank you guys for stepping up and in this community. This is a strong military community. It's an Air Force community, but the Marine Corps is always welcome, along with the Air Force, Army, and Navy and National Guard. There's a few Navy guys somewhere out here. I heard them earlier. But thank you guys, and I know that it's just going to grow from here. We've changed it up a little bit. The chief and I have been working on some pretty creative ideas. So you're going to see it grow. Hopefully the Marine Corps will keep up with the Air Force as they try to jump in next year with you guys. So a little competition there won't hurt. So I present to the United States Marine Corps for their assistance in the Patriot Day, National Day of Service, and Remembrance Ceremony, a certificate of recognition and award to the Marine Corps. Thank you guys very much.
Thank you, sir.
So I'm going to have you two say a couple words real quick, and then we'll introduce everybody.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Staff Sergeant Gloria, a recruiter. This is my 3rd year. I'll be leaving here in March. If you know anybody that wants to be a Marine, we like them crazy, but not too crazy, all right? But that's it for me. I'm a local. I grew up in Atwater, so it's a pleasure. It's an honor to be here to meet the mayor and the chief of police, so thank you.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's an honor to be here tonight. I'm Sergeant John with the Marines. I'm actually a local also. I graduated from BUAC 2012, so for me it's pretty nice being back in my hometown, seeing the differences. First time being at the city hall, so it's like different now. Other than that, honestly, I want you to thank these young men also, because they're these guys' replacements and my replacement one day. So please go ahead and give them a hand of applause after we're done too.
Introduce yourself and tell us where you're at and where you're going.
My name's Alejandro Bello. I'm 3rd squad leader, and I live in Atwater, and I'm going to be going to San Diego October 21st.
My name is Maverick Rivera, and I've been a Marine Poolee for 7 months now, and I'm going to boot camp February 2.
The name's Diego Barrochoa. I'm the guide, and I'm going to be going to a nice little vacation down in San Diego on December 9th for 3 months.
Hello, my name is Sebastian Cruz. I'm currently a senior in Atwater High School, and I leave for boot camp July 20th.
My name is Christian Correa. I've been in Livingston my whole life, and October 28th, I'll leave for boot camp.
Hoorah. My name is Michael Keel. I served from 75 to 79 and went in right after Vietnam, so I kind of missed getting shot at, which wasn't a really big deal, but I came back in one piece. We started this group just to build up the camaraderie between the active duty Marines and the veteran Marines, and have a place for Marines to gather and fellowship and whatnot. And we're not exclusively held to Marines. We invite all veterans to come and hang out with us and party with us and all that stuff, if you can handle it.
I don't know, they drink pretty heavy, so.
Hello, my name is Pete Herrera, Marine Corps veteran. I served in 1985.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for your assistance. Thank you for your help, and we'll see you guys all next year. Good luck. Godspeed. Thanks, guys. You're dismissed. Thank you. Then, last but not least, I couldn't have done this without the help of some pretty important people that work for us too. I want to thank Janelle for keeping us straight and keeping us on task. I want to thank Miss Joan Fall. I took her way outside her comfort zone, and at the end, she gave me a big old hug and she said, "Chief, you were right. This was the way to go." I also want to thank these gentlemen up here, Chief Slate, Bobby Ayuso, Derek, all the guys from CAL FIRE that helped us out. And then finally, I want to thank Furnace and the Public Works crew who set up an absolutely amazing venue for us to have it. They worked some yeoman time, and it's gorgeous. So, all yours.
Okay, City Clerk, first off, we're going to read a proclamation for Fire Prevention Week of October 6th through October 12th, 2019. I'll let the City Clerk read the proclamation.
Whereas the City of Atwater is committed to ensuring the safety and security of all those living in and visiting Atwater, and Atwater residents should practice the home fire escape plan drill with everyone in the household, including visitors, at least twice a year, during the day and at night, and should practice using different ways out. And Atwater residents should teach children to escape on their own in case adults can't help them. And Atwater residents should make sure everyone in the home knows how to call 911 or the local emergency number from a cell phone or a neighbor's phone. And Atwater residents are responsive to public education measures and are able to take action to increase their safety from fire, especially in their homes. And the 2019 Fire Prevention Week theme, "Not Every Hero Wears a Cape. Plan and practice your escape," effectively serves to remind us that we need to take personal steps to increase our safety from fire.
Now therefore, I, Paul Creighton, Mayor of the City of Atwater, do hereby proclaim October 6th through the 12th, 2019 as Fire Prevention Week. Chief?
Thank you, Mayor. This means a lot to the fire personnel. This is a time every year we do this Prevention Week, and it's a good time to go to the community and ask them to just be safe, go over this with your kids, and take time to think about fire prevention. And we'll be doing a lot of public education with our schools and pushing our message out. So thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, firemen, for keeping us safe, and have a great evening, and I'll present this to you. Thank you. And that wraps up the presentation. What do we got? The what? No, I think that wraps it up. Okay. Thank you, Chief. Okay, presentations, monthly verbal report by Merced County District 3 Supervisor McDaniel. Glenn, we need to fix the wheels. It doesn't, I don't think we.
That one doesn't. You gotta click them.
Okay, how's that? Perfect. It's a work in progress. We're trying to make it smoother so we can use it.
We're gonna do a caster training, so.
Yeah.
That's good. The county's always here to assist. I'm with the government and I'm here to help.
That's scary words.
Mayor, Council, thank you very much for this quick update. Again, I think I said it last time, make sure you sign up for those alerts for Merced County. We had some alerts that went out these past couple weeks. It's the countyofmerced.com/stay informed. You can go there and click it on. You can get text messages, email messages, or however you want to do it. Want to remind everybody again, obey the traffic signs that you see out at Castle. When you're driving through there, we do have autonomous vehicle testing going on currently. This week, we have a large company out there testing their vehicles. It's kind of eerie to watch it when you see folks driving around without anybody in them. Also want to remind you, or let you know that the Board of Supervisors passed their final budget last week. We passed a $670 million budget, which was, when you guys sit on the county or on the city and you hear that, it's pretty big. We'd understand that a lot of that's already federally and state mandated. We just have to be the facilitators of that. Our hemp ordinance does go live September 26th of this week. We passed it just under a month ago. It goes into implementation on the 26th. Also, I will not be attending my mobile district office this week, but I did see that Assemblymember Gray did did advertise it in the paper, so I'm sure they will be here. I don't know if Councilman Raymond will be there as you usually are. Also, I wanted to touch on our final budget. There was a few things I wanted to touch on. Our local veterans halls were dedicated over $2 million for upgrades. That's actually went to 4. So the city of Atwater's Veterans Hall here will get, I'm not sure exactly what to do, but we've taken about the past year going through it to see what needs to be upgraded and what they need to do there. So Atwater doesn't get the full $2 million, but they were appropriated some of that.
So that includes Blico also?
I don't think that's, I think it's Merced, Atwater, Los Banos, and I think it's Winton. And I think Blico or Gustine and Livingston are the next two in line for funding. And with that, I don't have any more. Is there any questions? I can't say. There is one more update that I want to give you. I was in Washington, D.C. week before last. I was there on your behalf, sitting with the San Joaquin Valley Policy Council. There's something we've been advocating. It's called the Stockton Diamond. And folks here don't understand what the Stockton Diamond is. You're saying, why was Supervisor McDaniel out of Merced County advocating on behalf of the Stockton Diamond? Well, you know those trains that get stuck out here every day? That's because of the Stockton Diamond. And right now, the Stockton Diamond is the busiest rail crossing. And when I mean rail, it's because you have UP and BNSF rails plus ACE train and Amtrak that have to cross at this particular area in Stockton. And what it does is it causes some places trains are having to sit idle for over 2 hours. If you know, right around, 2 or 3 o'clock, right there in front of Castle, they plug up both of our railroad crossings here in the city of Atwater. So we did get a commitment from Senator Feinstein of $3.2 million for the engineering to correct it. It's actually a true public-private partnership where we have both rails and government coming together and wanting to get this thing to happen, because this will free up rail throughout the whole Central Valley and basically throughout the whole state, because it's like I said, it's the most congested area in the state for rail. So with that, is there any questions?
Thank you.
You got it. Thank you.
Consent calendar.
Background information has been provided on all matters listed under the consent calendar, and these items are considered to be routine. All items under the consent calendar are normally approved by one motion. If discussion is requested on any item, that item will be removed from the consent calendar for separate action.
Looking for direction, council?
Motion to approve the consent calendar is posted.
I'll second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Ambrose.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Kale?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Petitions and communications. Request from Historical Downtown Atwater Association for assistance with the Spirit Festival. John Cardenas and Stephanie. Just John, okay.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. My name is John Cardenas. I'm the CEO of the Historical Atwater Society, and I'm also a resident of Atwater. So what we have is going on is we have our next event. It's going to be October 19th. We're requesting that a couple of blocks of Broadway be blocked so that we may have a vendor fair. It's going to be arts and crafts majority of the vendors. We will have some food vendors as well, and we're going to have some beer and wine tasting from some of the local businesses or breweries and wineries of the area. And that would be going from 3 p.m. to 7 p.m., but we would like to have the closure from 1 to 8, 1 p.m. to 8 p.m., allowing for setup and then tear down afterwards. If there's any questions, I'd like to answer
I'll open it
those
up to
now.
the public at this time before I bring it back to the dais. Any members of the public want to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and bring it back to the chief for comments.
I'm working with the association to make sure that their ABC license is taken care of, and that if there's any concentrations where we have to move vendors, we'll continue to work with the Downtown Association to make this happen.
Okay, city manager, any comments?
I've given the police chief my comments. It would be to make sure that the other businesses downtown that may be not involved, everybody knows that they're going to be closing the street and it might impact them, so that's my
Right.
concern too.
And we're inviting the businesses that are along Broadway to actually have their doors open and maybe even put something on the sidewalk to entice people to go into their businesses.
Okay, council? Comments? Okay, looking for direction.
I'll make a motion to approve the request from the Historical Downtown Atwater Association contingent upon receipt of current liability insurance, including endorsements for assistance with the Spirits Festival on Saturday, October 19th, from 1 p.m. to 8 p.m. with street closures, and that's it.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Ambrose.
Kale?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes, and thank you for bringing another event to downtown Atwater.
Well, you're very welcome. Thank you very much. And I know you were giving away certificates. This is one long time coming to you, the board, and to the city of Atwater. This is a most valuable participant, or most valued participant. It's awarded to the city of Atwater.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
And that's from the Historical Association?
Yes, it is. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you guys very much for coming tonight. Public hearing. Ordinance approving Cannibal LLC development agreement regarding cannabis business pilot program for cannabis dispensary on property located at 741 Enterprise Court. Peretta?
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Yes, Mark Peretta, General Services Manager. Tonight, we're indicating that Cannibal LLC, with their development agreement, has decided to pull their application from going forward on this process. They were actually a delivery service, and so after this meeting, we would stop on the continuance.
Okay. Any members of the public want to come forward on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Reopen the public hearing and take any testimony given regarding ordinance number CS 1009. So the public comment is open again for public testimony. None. Close the public hearing. We can take a motion. Okay. That item is over. Item number 11, ordinance making the environmental finding, approving amendment to the commercial and industrial design guidelines. Thompson.
Apologize about the limp. I didn't move fast enough on an item, and Lori sent Janelle to kick me in the knee, so I'm a little sore right now. Good evening, Mr. Mayor and fellow council members. Tonight before you, what staff is recommending is an amendment to the commercial and industrial design guidelines. The city of Atwater currently holds design guidelines for architectural standards for both residential properties and commercial and industrial properties. These have been in place since roughly 2011, 2012, and they set the standards for which our Planning Commission and the City Council determines whether a property or a project is in conformance with the standards established by both the Commission and the City Council. So therefore, what happens when we as staff submit a site plan or architectural elevations, it prevents us from each independently acting as quote-unquote interior and exterior designers, and we look for examples of conformancy with the established guidelines that can set the tone and the standard for the community. That's why and how we are able to produce and approve projects that are balanced throughout the community, and we don't see spikes and alternatives that may not be a good fit. What we're asking for tonight is an amendment to an existing document. We're not creating and establishing something new. We're amending the existing commercial and industrial design guidelines to make allowances for downtown. This is our opportunity to set standards for the downtown area with regard to the understanding and acceptance of historic modified, and non-historic buildings, and allow us to set standards for a downtown, including what facade treatments and other design features, as well as the multimodal or pedestrian features of downtown. What we're trying to do is when events that were brought to you before you tonight come forward, we can create both a look, an aesthetic, and a walkability for downtown that meets the true nature of our community. I think it's important to, a couple things I'd like to point out. First is that this is not an enforcement tool. It is a guidance tool. It allows us to use this. It also allows members of the community and project proponents to get these standards in advance to help guide them through their process. That way, when they have come forward and they've produced something that looks like a good representation of the community based on our guidelines, they can deliver a product or an application that best suits the needs of the community. It also gives you something to measure against. I think it's important to remember that I point out that the recommendation of the implementation of the design guidelines or the amendment came with a unanimous vote from the Planning Commission. The Planning Commission here in the City of Atwater also acts as the Architectural Design Committee.
Okay, I'm going to open this up to public comment at this time. Any members of the public like to come forward to speak on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and bring it back to the council. And if anybody makes a motion, there's two motions, if you so make a motion. Any discussion?
I want to say thank you, because in reading that program that you put together, it looked like very structurally sound, and they look great. Pictures in there, and I hope that that downtown turns into something really nice, because they really do.
Thank you. We're very proud of it. One thing that I wanted to point out at Lori and Mark's direction, and understanding that I am a hired consultant, but the bulk of this material was put together by Atwater for Atwater. This document was created in-house. Staff did not sub this out to another design or architectural or planning firm that does not have an understanding of the community. It was produced here.
Nice.
Thank you.
Does it have pictures of the downtown?
Yeah, we can't speak from the audience, but Janelle, do we have any pictures?
You would like to see the design guideline? Mm-hmm. Yes.
Yeah, so just a moment, we'll pull those up. Greg, you can speak on those as they come up, please.
Is there a specific page that would be?
I think you
best,
just
Greg?
go to some of the color renditions that we have.
Yeah.
And then maybe Greg can touch on those briefly and
So,
just kind of give a feel of what we're trying to do.
so one of the, perfect. So one of the things that we tried to do with the document, so people don't get lost in it and it's easy guide to follow, is to create a purpose in the intent of the document. A great deal of it involves the walkability, the treatment of the sidewalks and things like that, and the amendment. Now keep in mind, the commercial and design guidelines that are already in place, they cover the whole city.
Greg.
They're already in place and they're already a tool.
This way.
Sorry. Am I facing which way?
Yeah.
Okay, so they cover the entire city, and the amendment is a design tool that specifically only covers this particular area here. So can you roll forward, please?
Continue. Here?
Keep going. So obviously, that's the
Bloss
Bloss House that is representative of this historic area. That represents the Broadway corridor, and it depicts the area of concern or the area that these design guidelines cover. Again, that's specifically of Atwater. When you see, please roll forward.
Oh, dang.
That's okay.
Oh, good grief.
We'll get there.
Well, if it was a nice, we could do
You need a nice
a
mouse.
PowerPoint.
There you go, hold on, stop. So when you see artist conceptuals like this, they're only designed to be a reference so that it shows the separation of the design elements. That facade right there is not one specific to downtown Atwater. It's an artist rendering, but it's specifically there, and it is typical of what we see of downtown Atwater. Actually, there's a building that looks very, very similar to this right next to Granny's Pantry.
Yep.
More?
Yeah.
Do I?
There should be a couple more, a little, yeah, right there.
So again, what these photographs are depicting and what these artist renderings are depicting is the separation and the values between historic, modified, and the
So you
non-historic.
show the Bloss Library.
Again, one of them, what we found in these particular cases are artist renderings that most closely represent
Gotcha.
what was downtown. And then, again, the rest of these things are design elements. They're designed to be labeled so that the public can understand the separation of what we're talking about in the
So
document.
when people go to this document, they can see the pictures and get a reference quicker, get a better feel for it quicker than reading through the whole document. And that helps facilitate people wanting to do things.
Correct. And,
Right.
and there were other elements that were put in it, such as like pedestrian features, like trash cans and bike racks and things that
Benches,
we- yeah, street furniture, so to speak. But again, these renderings were imposed in there specifically to help guide the reader through the process. The text document is meant for the architects, for the public itself, and then for staff as a useful tool.
Okay, I think that's good enough to know. Council, what's your pleasure? Again, there's two motions if you decide to go that way.
Well, I'll make a motion to make the finding that the project is categorically, wait, am I on the right one?
Yes, you are. You're right on
Okay.
track.
Categorically exempt under provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act. Guidelines section 15305, class 5, minor alternative of land use limitations. And motion to waive the first reading and introduce ordinance.
John, can I interrupt you real quick?
Yeah.
Let's do roll call on the first motion.
Okay.
And then you can continue with the second one after roll call.
I'd rather not, but somebody else can.
Okay.
No, I'm just-
Let's do the first one and see if we gotta get somebody else to do the next one. We need a second on that also.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Ambrose. Call for the-
Kale?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Direction on the next one?
All right, motion to adopt the resolution number 3113-19, awarding cooperative government obligation contract in a form approved by the interim city attorney and Republic First National Corporation. Oh, that's not it.
No.
Sorry, motion to waive the first reading into ordinance number CS1017, making the finding.
1018.
No, it's this one here?
You want the paper copy here?
Oh, no, go ahead.
Thank-
The motion, if you can see that.
Okay, I'll read it. I'll go ahead
Yeah,
and do
would
it.
you?
Motion to waive the first reading and introduce ordinance number CS 1018, making the finding that the project is categorically exempt and approving an amendment to the commercial and industrial guidelines as presented.
Yeah, I'll make that motion.
Second. Motion by Kale, second by Creighton.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Item 12, ordinance making the environmental finding and repealing Chapter 2.20 redevelopment agency and plan, amending Title 17 zoning to add Chapter 17.43 downtown business district zone of the Atwater Municipal Code and approving a zone change for property located in the Broadway corridor from central commercial CC, residential transition RT, and low density residential R1 to downtown business district zone D-BD, senior planner Thompson. This will also have two motions.
Thank you again for your consideration of this item. Hopefully what you are starting to see a pattern of from staff is a number of items that pertain to your zoning text and the zoning districts within the city of Atwater. What we have been tasked with as staff is to go in and do examinations of your municipal code and find areas of inconsistency and to make those repairs within your municipal code. As you've seen on previous, in your consent calendar, you saw where we previously introduced ordinances changing the text to bring the city into compliance with Senate Bill 2 on some of the housing and and the supportive housing and transitional housing definitions within your zoning text. This is a very similar activity. What we're doing by this purported zone change, repealing Section 2.20 of your municipal code, after the 2011 Budget Act for the state of California, redevelopment districts were abolished. They were removed, and that state assistance no longer is in existence. The Atwater Municipal Code is still representative of those old actions, and those sections needed to be repealed. When we did an evaluation and examination of the zones and districts and the land use designations within your general plan, we found a huge inconsistency. And one of the state mandates are, which city attorney may be able to elaborate a little bit further than myself, is that we must follow a consistency model. That is, what we say we want to do with both identification and policies within the general plan needs to follow the established zoning districts that we set by the city zoning map and the standards within the municipal code. That area that's outlined in blue, which has been kind of the focus of our conversations tonight, represents the downtown mixed-use area within your general plan. It has some extremely good policy sections. It was well thought out when it was implemented, but when the zoning was created for this particular area or land use assignment, that's where things kind of went sideways. And we had mixed uses and uses that were identified that did not follow the consistency model that the state wants us as cities to follow. What we're suggesting right now is a zone change or a removal of that one section based on redevelopment districts and a rezoning of downtown to make it consistent with its general plan. I think it's important to note, staff is not recommending a general plan amendment at this time. The policies and the definitions for those land uses are still consistent with the general plan, and we're not asking that those be removed or modified at this time. What we're asking is that we implement the proper zoning to match what is in our general plan. Some of the uses, and I know we've had a few calls from businesses at the staff level, we've assured them that the residential uses are preserved within this new zone or district, and the business uses are preserved within this zones or district. One thing that you will see that are different, we've tried to be a little bit more comprehensive than the original central commercial district in what we would allow under a conditional use permit, and then they would now be subject to the implementation or the use as a guidance tool of the amendment to the architectural design guidelines.
Okay, I'm going to open up the public hearing and take any testimony given regarding ordinance number CS 1017. Any members of the public like to come forward at this time? Seeing none, I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the council. Council, what's your pleasure?
Motion to approve staff's recommendation is presented.
I think we need to, can you read the first motion?
Yep. Motion to make the finding that the project is categorically exempt under the provisions of the California Environmental Quality Act Guidelines, Section 15305, Class 5, minor alterations in land use limitations.
Okay.
Second.
Motion by Raymond, second by Kale.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Again, there's two motions.
Motion to waive the first reading, introduce ordinance number CS 1017, making the finding that the project is categorically exempt, repealing Chapter 2.20 redevelopment agency and plan, amending Title 17 zoning to add Chapter 17.43 downtown business district zone of the Atwater Municipal Code, and approving a zone change for property located no further west of Winton Way, no further east of Schaefer Road, no further south than Atwater Boulevard, and no further north than Cedar Avenue from the central commercial residential transition and low-density residential to the downtown business district zone.
Second.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Reports and presentations from staff. Resolution awarding a cooperative government obligation contract with Republic First National Cooperation to finance the purchase of one new 2020 Rosenbauer Commander Type 1 fire engine. Chief Slate. Chief, you don't mind coming up to the podium because it's probably going to be a couple more questions. And you also have, Jeremy was in here somewhere. There he is. Yeah, you want to, okay.
Mr. Mayor, council members, John Slate, Atwater, CAL FIRE Battalion Chief. There's a few things I'd like to talk about. Hopefully that'll clear up some potential questions you may have for the purchase of this new fire engine. Couple things. First, back in last year's budget, before the budget that we're currently in, it was approved to put $200,000 for the replacement of a fire engine for the Atwater City Fire. Those monies were never used. So when you approved the current budget that we're currently in, you approved another $200,000 with the increase of the previous $200,000. So the current budget that we're in right now, we have a total of $400,000 allocated for the replace of one new fire engine. So I took that into consideration when we spec'd out and bid for the purchase of a new fire engine. So ultimately, since have to stay in the constraints of the money that we have to replace equipment, so ultimately working with the interim finance director, we come up with a plan to finance this fire engine with a 3-year lease purchase. It's a government obligation contract is what they call it, and it's with First National Corporations for a total of 3 payments. The first payment would take place in our current fiscal year. So this current budget year, $400,000. And then in the next budget year, we could pay the second payment, and that payment would be $131,000. It's in the report. And then the third and final payment would be the following fiscal year, and that would be the third and final payment of $131,000. So the total price of a brand new fire engine for Atwater City would be $648,000, roughly around there. But with the interest for those 2 additional payments, it comes out to $663,017.88, and that's including all the tax or all the interest that would be occurred over that loan. So that's one thing I wanted to cover. So that plan was laid out with myself and the interim finance director to come up with a plan to keep in the restraints of what we have allocated out of that safety measure towards the replacement of a new fire engine. And then second, I'd like to talk a little bit about the status of our fleet. We have a total of 4 pieces of equipment for emergency response. We have 2 fire stations. At one station, Station 42, we have a ladder truck. Everybody's familiar with the Rosenbauer ladder truck. Very sound piece of equipment, useful tool. The second piece of equipment at that station is a reserve engine, Engine 42. Engine 42 is currently being serviced at a high-tech apparatus shop. It's out of service, meaning it's being worked on. At the other station, Station 41 on Broadway, we have Engine 41 and a reserve engine, Engine 241. So that's a total of 4 pieces of equipment for fire personnel to respond. Now, the first line piece of equipment, Engine 41 out of Station 41, is 10 years old. It was bought with assistance from a grant 10 years ago, and it's been very problematic. It's currently borderline almost out of service. So just to go over the maintenance costs, I just compiled the last 3 years' cost to keep Engine 41 in service. Currently, with 2016, the city spent $17,587 in maintenance costs on Engine 41. 2017, a little over $23,000 just on Engine 41. 2018, $12,942. This current year, from January to now, we've spent over $50,000 maintaining that engine. The problem with Engine 41, to be honest, is it was a low bid engine. And sometimes you get those 3 bids, and you take the lowest bid, you don't always get the best equipment. So with this staff report, if with your approval, if we could get a Rosenbauer Commander engine, it's a very good piece of equipment. Just like the ladder truck, same manufacturer, that's a truck, this is a fire engine, but I think in the long run, it's going to save the city money.
Okay, I'm going to open it up to the public for any comment.
Mayor, can I have John also, talk about how it's going to be outfitted?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, I think that'd be good. You cover that like we discussed at the open house.
Yes.
Kind of go in.
Yeah, thank you for reminding me. Ultimately, when I mentioned the first payment, since we're using money that rolled over from last budget to our current budget, so we have $400,000, that's going to be the first down payment. A good chunk, which saves the city money. We're not going to have to pay an interest. Our second payment next year, with the approved budget of $200,000 for the replacement of the engine, the second payment next budget is $131,000. That remaining money, or not remaining, the leftover, there's still a little bit of money there in Measure H. I need that money to purchase the equipment to outfit. What I mean outfit is buy the ladders, buy the hose, buy the nozzles, buy the specialized equipment.
And the reason you need that money, instead of having the engine builder do it.
Well, there's a pass-through there, Mayor. So
Right.
ultimately, if I have Rosenbauer put all this equipment on the fire engine, one, it's a back and forth, what do I want? I can't spec it out exactly what the needs of the city are.
They don't know
So-
what type of ladder you want or what type of hoses.
Exactly. I'd like it to match the other equipment that we already have, be similar, like, and they're going to add a price to it. For them to buy it and install it, there's going to be additional price. Once I get that engine in hand, because that's another thing I wanted to talk about, the time lag. So once we start pay the money, they start building, it takes at least no more than 365 days. So that's in the staff report. It could be here sooner, but if it goes over 365 days, they start paying.
But you're
once we
also talking
take-
about you purchasing equipment, we don't finance the
No.
small things.
And another thing, if we add the price of the equipment into the purchase, we'll be paying extra taxes, or not taxes, excuse me, paying extra interest on those items. So what I'm proposing is using the leftover money that is for next fiscal. Once we take possession of this fire engine, it's built, we have it in-house, then we can buy all the hoses, equipment, nozzles, all the little stuff. We buy it at a lower price because we're purchasing it. There's no pass-through there. We don't pay them to purchase it, the same equipment. We buy it, outfit it in-house, and then put it in service. But what I want everybody to be aware is we're buying an engine that has no hose, no nozzles, no ladders, no extrication equipment, a lot of different items that are going to be purchased. However, with $131,000 next budget, and with With your approval, if there's estimated around 200, and that's on the long-term plan, there should be additional
$69,000.
$69,000, and that's enough wiggle room for me to get it completely outfitted. What I mean by outfit is get all that vital equipment. But this purchase does not include all that equipment. So hopefully that works out and we can save some money.
So you're making it very clear that it's engine only, no equipment, and he's going to bank the other $69,000 to do it after the engine lands on the ground next year. Public comment will open up at this time. Any members of the public want to come forward to speak on this item? On this item?
Yeah, I just want to make sure I know what I'm doing. I'm Jermaine Pastor with SWAG, with students with the aspiring goals, and I happen to just, know Mr. Slate. And I think that's a terrific idea. I think at some point, it's going to have to be purchased. And I think that, with the importance of their job that they do, the sooner that's purchased, then they can, continue going. And like I said, just to remind you again, at some point, these things are going to have to be purchased, and I think it's better sooner than later, because then we'll have a whole bunch of old equipment, going down the road, and I think that makes the community feel kind of less safe. And then just on the up note, I think they've done a good job of coming out to our schools, and our kids get to see that, and that's always a big deal. I'm always with law enforcement and fire coming out to the schools with their equipment. Okay, so.
Well said.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public like to come forward at this time on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment, bring it back to the dais for discussion, possible action. Okay, I think it's great. I don't see, okay, Raymond.
Chief, now the county, they also use the Rosenbauer engines?
Absolutely. So this engine, the Commander Type 1 engine that's there, is the same spec. So it actually saves a lot of time and money when it's in the purchase manual piggybacking. That's another thing. So they have the state spec, and they use this specification, already order this piece of equipment. It's in use in the county. I was just at a commercial structure fire right before I got here to this council meeting, and they were pumping off of a Commander Type 1 engine. So it's useful and very common. All the compartments are set up. So if you have a firefighter working on our engine or working on one of their engines, muscle memory, exactly the same compartments, same equipment, used to using it, and it's a very good piece of equipment that's trustworthy and has been very reliable. And we also have a very good working relationship with Rosenbauer because they did manufacture the ladder truck, which has been a very good piece of equipment.
Now, as far as cost savings, the county has their own mechanic too that works on the trucks, don't they?
Yes. Yeah.
I know Chief White previously was trying to work on an agreement with the county to help with some cost savings there. Is that something we can still look into?
I've looked into that. The only issue or roadblock, I should say, that we found, the county personnel, those are what we refer to as Schedule C employees. There's county mechanics. They're county employees that maintain the shop and work in the fleet and maintain all the fire fleet for Merced County. So what we were looking at is seeing if we could come up with an agreement to where they would service our equipment rather than having Public Works service our equipment. But the only problem we ran into is time management. So does Merced County have enough time to take care of their vast fleet plus take care of our fleet? Granted, there would be monies exchanged. It wouldn't be for free. We'd pay them for that service. However, with the time studies and liabilities and things like that, it just wasn't in the best interest to do that.
I think part of that was also because of the age of our equipment. They weren't willing to take our old equipment on as well.
Yeah, I didn't want to mention that, but ultimately, if we have a 1990 that we need to retire, it's coming up on 20 years old, generally you don't have frontline equipment. You have to have a good replacement plan, especially this city running 4,000 calls between the two stations. Engine 41 runs 2,500 calls a year, and the majority of those are Code 3 responses, which means they're driving that equipment as fast as they can, safely, of course, but to that structure fire code or medical aid or whatever it is.
Ambrose?
So if this gets approved tonight, what is going to be our estimated time of this actually being on the road after it's built and you put all the equipment on there?
Well, I can tell you, from the day that the contract's signed and they get their down payment, 100% prepay, and then we start paying those two additional payments for a total of 3 payments to First Republic National, we have 365 days to receive it. It could be sooner than 365, but if it's any more than 365 days, it's actually in that contract that they start paying us. So I'm fairly sure that Rosenbauer will not go over 365 days unless they want to start paying the city. I'm not exactly sure. I'd have to get back to you on the price, but I know it was around $100 a day that they pay if they go over 365 days. So we're ultimately looking at 1 year turnaround because fire apparatus, it's a lot of work to weld them, make them, design them. Other departments that may be larger and they order 10 or 15 a year, that spec is more of an assembly line and they have probably 15 that they just have to put a few things on and send them out. But this is a special spec that's going to take them 1 year to make. But once we get that in our possession, I should have it outfitted within 2-3 months for sure.
Okay.
And that's including ordering the equipment. A lot of it I'm going to start ordering ahead of time. That way I have it in-house. I have it at the station, like hose and things like that that I know we need. But certain things that are going to have to be mounted in certain locations, I'll wait until we have it in hand to make sure it fits accordingly.
And then for our old piece of equipment, is that something that's going to be retired once this one's ready to go on the street? Or what's going to be the next step for that one?
Ultimately, staff plans, the best plan would be to get rid of the 1990. That is the oldest fire engine in our fleet. And by retiring that one, maybe take it to sale like we did a lot of the other equipment, sell that and try and get reimburse some money for those costs, and then take engine 41, the one that's at station 41 that runs the majority of the calls, and replace that engine. So this new engine will become engine 41. Old engine 41 will be moved to a reserve status at the other station. And we're looking at having it run calls like medical calls and codes and things like that, so that the ladder truck isn't responding all the time. The ladder truck can still be available for structure fires and vehicle accidents because it has the vast tools on it and then all the capabilities. But for medical calls, it's a little more feasible to have that engine respond. And then it's going to be taking a lot of calls off of that 10-year-old engine, so the lifespan should be increased. But that's ultimately the plan, to put the new engine at Station 41, take that engine to the other station and cross-staff.
Thank you.
Raymond?
Have you guys had a chance to work on the fire fleet replacement program at all? So we've talked a few times about it and talked to some of the staff here as well.
Yes, I think back in February when I addressed the state of the department, we talked about all the aging equipment with the newest, and every 10 years we need to buy a new piece of equipment. Excuse me. Ladder trucks are already 5 years old. I know it seems like it's brand new, and it feels like it's brand new to us because it's such a nice piece of equipment. However, it's 5 years. Before we know it, it's going to be 15 years old and have a ton of miles on it. I mean, it's already starting to get up there in age. But we, as soon as we get this engine in hand, we got to start putting money away to purchase another engine. So after this is purchased, we need another one within 10 years. And then that's not even to talk about the vehicles. The two command vehicles, one has 25,000 miles on it, one has 28,000 miles on it. It's relatively low, but they're only 2 years old. So once they get probably 60 to 80,000 miles on it, recommendation in that equipment replacement plan is to start turning that into a utility or transfer it over to public work and get us a new command vehicle.
So on that topic, with the command vehicles, we talked about this. I want to make sure that with our new finance director and our city manager that we do sometimes generate a little bit of revenue when they take our vehicles out on strike teams and do things like that. However, in the past, that money comes back in, it ends up in general fund, and it disappears. So we need to be dollar wise from here on out, and I'm looking forward to the new finance director to make sure that if fire generates a dollar, that dollar goes back to fire to replace or buy equipment or fix the roof, or, I mean, there's a long laundry list of things that need to be done. And I think what Councilman Raymond was saying too also, the vehicle replacement program. We're going to be putting a Band-Aid on with this new purchase. We're going to be getting rid of a really old truck that's costing us a fortune. But as soon as we get the new truck on the ground, we already need to start replacing the next one. The chief's already gone through this with how many vehicles? 11 or 13 or something like that?
Right now, we're at 8, 10, 12 vehicles, and I also need a vehicle replacement program because I've got 3 more right behind it.
Right.
And another 3
So,
after that.
as you guys can hear, the public safety side of things, we haven't addressed that. And it's put us in a bind, and unfortunately, we're here talking about this today. When we had the Target fire, it's a similar engine to what rolled out there, and the guys were working off in the front of the store. So it was extremely, what'd you call it, muscle memory or whatever? Because
Yes.
same trucks you guys work on all over the state of California.
Absolutely. If you can have your whole fleet be the exact same thing, very dependable, good equipment, trustworthy, that's going to get us to all those emergency calls. And especially if they're all outfitted the same, so that all the emergency equipment's in the same compartments as they are in the county and the city, because we all work together. We have an auto aid agreement. So if we're going to a call with them or they're coming to our call, and they come over to the city and we have a big commercial structure fire here, they run to our piece of equipment, they know exactly where to get the equipment. It's all the same. Because seconds matter. If you're grabbing a medical bag out of the compartment for that code blue or any type of tool, it really makes a big difference, because that's one thing they don't have to worry about, is thinking to where they're going to find the equipment. It's all the same. They're outfitted, familiar. When they drive them, they're less likely to get into a vehicle accident, safety-wise, just safety measures, because they're familiar with that equipment. You don't have to
I think you mentioned also that it may idle the ladder truck a little bit more by rolling this around, and there's a lot of people that had comments over the years that, we drive the ladder truck, but as you guys hear tonight, that thing starts every time and you can drive it out.
Absolutely.
So you got to drive the dependable cars, fire engines. So, council, what's your pleasure?
Motion to adopt resolution number 3113-19, awarding a cooperative government obligation contract in a form approved by the interim city attorney with Republic First National Corporation in the amount of $663,017.88 to finance the purchase of one 2020 Rosenbauer Commander Type 1 fire engine, and authorizing and directing the city manager to execute the contract and related documents on behalf of the city.
Second.
Okay, before we call for the vote, I want to make sure it's clear that everybody knows we've followed, Chief, you could explain about the purchase policy, the rules on bidding, the Davis-Bacon Act, that was all gone through and followed. Can you touch on that real quick?
Yes, I can, Mayor. So ultimately, there's like you could call it a consortium. So Rosenbauer put it out to bid, and then it falls in our purchasing manual that we can buy a piece of equipment that has been purchased by other government departments because they went out to bid. So we're ultimately piggybacking on that purchase, a lot like we did with the enterprise purchase with the police vehicles. It's ultimately the same concept, and it is within our purchasing manual. Government agencies can do that. They can work together, and we're basically piggybacking off of that RFP that went out, got awarded, and now we're going to with that same company. So Rosenbauer was awarded that RFP.
Thank you. Call for question.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Thank you, Chief.
Thank you, Mayor.
City manager reports and updates. Resolution adopting City of Atwater Public Safety Transaction and Use Tax Program Guidelines and Expenditure Plan.
Mayor and council, this item is a cleanup item. In March of 2013, the city voters adopted a public safety and transactions and use tax, as we refer to it as Measure H. We need to start getting away from Measure H, because if it does go forward again, that it may not be under that same measure. So although we typically describe it as Measure H. And in that, we were to establish a program guidelines and public safety expenditure plan, and identify the allowable expenses on that program. And staff has created the document that outlines this from the 2012 to the end of the term, which is 2023. And along with that, so prior expenditures, even though they were identified through the budget process, we did not have the expenditure plan document. This has been created, and on the last page of the document, we have a detailed expenditure for the remaining term of the measure, tax measure, and that lists the items or the projects that we anticipate will be funded through the remaining term of Measure H, which will expire in 2023. If you have any questions, I'm available, or Chief.
I'm going to open this up to public comment at this time. Any members of the public like to come forward on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment and bring it back to the dais. Council? What's your pleasure?
I'll make a motion to adopt the resolution number 3100-19, adopting the City of Atwater Public Safety Transactions and Use Tax Program Guidelines and Expenditure Plan for 2012 to 2023.
Second.
Motion by Kale, second by Ambrose.
Raymond,
Yes.
Kale,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
I do want to just make an additional comment that part of this expenditure plan or program that was adopted and passed by the voters calls for an annual oversight meeting. I just want to let the public know that our last one was held in March 26th of this year, and although it's only asked or identified in the measure as annual meeting, the next one will be November 4th, and we do have vacancies on that committee. If anybody is interested, they can obtain a application on our website.
Okay. Item 15, ratifying Finance Director Employment Agreement.
Mayor and City Council, before you is an employment agreement for our Finance Director, Kelly Jacobs Hunter. This item is another one of the key management positions that was identified by the State Controller Audit, and part of the operating processes that they identified as positions that needed to be filled and have some stability in it. We went through a rigorous recruitment. We had an outside oral panel, an objective oral panel, and they recommended Kelly Jacobs Hunter, who is here today, that we can introduce as well. A couple items in the agreement that I do want to bring to your attention. Although this is an agreement that is similar situated for other city employees, it is a 3-year term, will expire on October 2nd, 2022, and can be extended. The position will be starting out at step 6, and salary shall be $112,659.76 per year. She will receive the finance director, the premiums as well as her dependents as similar situated employees for medical and dental. She will have a vehicle to use for city business. There is a clause in there, a severance clause. This is an at-will employee, although if for any reason it's terminated without cause, there is a 4-month base severance. And she will be front-loaded 40 hours of sick leave and 40 hours vacation leave on date of hire, and will accrue 96 hours of sick leave annually and 80 hours vacation leave annually, and administrative leave. And this is competitive with our surrounding cities. So I'll be
So
open
you
to any questions.
you might make the comment also that she has
Oh, the experience.
experience, and she's been a finance director for many, many years. We won't say how many years, but a long time. How many? 28.
That was an important objective as well in identifying this position, is making sure that the applicant had municipal experience, not only accounting experience, but municipal experience, because it's a very different aspect. And Kelly has had experience in other municipalities as well as the county, and so she brings a lot of experience to the city, and that's another role in our team that we're filled. Now we've got our police chief, our public works director, and our finance director. These are key positions identified.
So the main thing that we're bringing to the table with this employment contract with Kelly is we're not training somebody. We're bringing somebody in that's going to correct a lot of things that we've done wrong over a lot of years and the state's identified. So you have a top-level manager now in the finance department. Nobody's going to be cutting their teeth in there. She'll be actually mentoring the other employees. Pretty much changing the department a little bit more. We're going to make some swift adjustments, I think. I see a lot of good things coming. She's got some really creative solutions on how to get things done, and she comes from the city, one of the cities to the north of us. I won't say yet until we ratify this. So I'm going to open up to the public comment right now. So any members of the public like to come forward on this item? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment and bring it back to the dais. Do you guys want Kelly to say anything, or why don't you come on up? Give us a little bit about your background and.
Yes, thank you, Mayor and Council. Yes, and don't believe anything that Jose says about me. I've worked with Jose before, and he's wonderful. I just want to tell you how grateful and thankful I am for this opportunity to come serve the city of Atwater and its citizens, mayor, council, city manager, and department heads. Looking forward to being much closer to home. I am a Merced County resident and have been for a long time. I went away to college. Me and my husband ended up back here. I was working a little bit to the north here, driving about an hour a day. I'm looking forward to coming back and being much closer to home. 19 and a half years ago, we lived here for about 7 years. My son was born when we lived here in Atwater. He wasn't born in Atwater, but we lived here for quite a few years and enjoyed it. So I have worked in local government finance for 28 years. I have a bachelor's of science degree I have a dual major in accounting and human resource management, and I worked in multiple Stanislaus County cities. I worked for the County of Merced for 17 years, and most recently I've been with the City of Turlock for 4.5. As Administrative Services Director. So I'm really looking forward to coming. I'm here to serve you, help you carry out your vision, the goals, and the plans that Atwater has. And I'd be happy to answer any questions. I am married. I have one son. He's at college. He's down south and will probably never come home except to visit for the holidays, because I wouldn't either.
Council, do you have any questions? Okay.
Motion to approve.
Motion to approve by Raymond, second.
Thank you.
Second.
Second by Kale.
Kale,
Yes.
Raymond,
Yes.
Ambrose,
Yes.
Creighton,
Yes.
motion passes.
Report from, go ahead.
I just want to thank council. This is
Oh,
going to
you
be
know what?
a
Let's
great-
take a break real quick here and bring you up. Let you talk to the audiences here real quick, and we're going to come down and take some pictures with you also. So we're going to take a short break to just say hello. guys. Welcome aboard. Okay, Janelle, you ready?
I was like pressing out.
Call the meeting back to order. Report from mayor and city manager, take back our neighborhood project. Recommendation that the city council, by motion, provide the city manager some direction to take back our neighborhood at Kelso, Swaps, and Determine area. We're gonna have some photos brought up, and I'm gonna discuss why this is on the agenda. So can you pull the photos up and just scroll through those to the end? Give people a moment to look at that. So this is the Kelso, Swaps, and Determine area here in the city of Atwater. And I've been going out there for the last 3 or 4 years at Christmas, giving Christmas trees and doing different things. And previous councils have tried to improve that area, and it's not getting done. So I don't think it's on lack of their desire to do it. I think it's just a lack of public attention and the council's desire to make a difference and to improve that neighborhood for the better for the residents that live out there. Currently, it's a blighted, overgrown, dirty area that little kids have to play in and people have to live in. And we need to do our part on the city council to make sure that all residents in Atwater live in a clean, safe environment to the best of our ability with our city resources, where our resources stop and then the landowners begin. But by identifying this, we found several sidewalks that are non-compliant. That's a U.S. mailbox there. You slow down a little bit. Somebody should have identified that and reported that to the postal the system. You see the fence in the background there has been smashed in for 2 or 3 years from a car wreck. Can you go to the next couple of slides? Next one. And then chronic dumping of the residents in their parking lots by the dumpsters. The dumpsters have been out there. They've been painted over with brown and gray and different paint. And the city's contract states that they're supposed to be maintained in a clean, operable position, and they're obviously not being taken care of. The dumping's out of control. The kids have to play in that parking lot back there. There's a couple of little girls that ride their little 3-wheel tricycles around out there. And I walked around, and you can't smell how bad that area is right there. Go to the next slide. So the kids are having to play around that. It's a public health and safety issue, and I decided to bring this to the entire council for direction with the city manager and all the top staff, public works director, police chief, fire chief, building official, planning director, city engineer, code enforcement, that it's enough time of talking. It's time we start doing something. And the only reason that city government or government exists is for the protection of the people. We can't go in and take over the rental of these properties, but where the city's responsibilities end, we can sure do something, and we need to do something. And it's time we do something now. Talking to the residents out there, they don't intentionally want to live in those conditions, but sometimes we end up in places that we really don't want to be in the conditions because life just deals us a bad set of cards. And that's not a reason to turn a blind eye on somebody. So I would like a little bit of discussion on this. I do have some recommendations. I sent the city manager an email with, I don't know if you printed that out, if I can borrow that, with some recommendations. Going out there and taking the pictures, I identified several things. The sidewalks, if you can go back to that sidewalk that's lifted, that didn't just happen overnight. That sidewalk, I believe that's down to Determine.
Like the first slide
Yeah,
or two.
roll back, it's broken up.
That's determinable.
On Determine Street?
Yeah, that's determinable.
So that sidewalk didn't happen overnight, and our public works crews or our city should identify things like that. Keep going. That's not it. And we haven't identified anything for this area of town since I've been on the council and probably, well, keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. You see the background there? Keep going till you come up on that one closer up.
There you go.
Right there. So when I was out there, I was basically around the block over on Swaps. There was a lady with a stroller pushing her kid. So guess where she was at with the kid in the stroller? Out in the street. So that's not us doing right to them in that neighborhood. I know everything costs money and there's sidewalks all around town. I haven't identified every single sidewalk with every single crack all over town, but I do know that this sidewalk's up almost 10.5 inches at a canter where you can't even barely walk on that more or less push a kid in a stroller or anything else. I'm not saying that anywhere else in town's not deserving of sidewalks. This is a very, very small area that needs a lot of attention. So sidewalks, the street lighting along Bellevue to lighten that place up, to get the property owners to trim their trees, to keep the street lights that we have out there clear. Street signs, there are very few, if any, street signs out there that identify what streets are there, from stop signs to the regular street signs to the dead end signs are missing. The landscaping, if you can go back to that landscaping on a brick wall, that's city landscaping. Crank it through the other way really fast. Right there, that's city landscaping. Does that look acceptable to anybody that pays taxes? The property owners pay taxes out there, not the renters, but look what the property owners get. So they get used to us treating them like that, then they treat their renters the way they're treating their renters. So it's a big circle we're playing. So landscaping needs to be addressed and cleaned up. There's property owners behind that live in those apartments. They have to put grease on the wall because there's so much undesirable activity going on in that landscape area, so they don't climb the wall and infringe on those other residents on the other side of the wall. So that needs to get cleaned up. And then just an overall tree removal that's damaging the sidewalks, a plan to clean this area up once and for all. So hopefully the city manager and the city staff tonight can elaborate a little bit on, before I open a public comment, elaborate on what exactly can we do out there and how fast can we do something? Because it falls back on our department heads and our city manager to truly do something about this area. And I wanted to bring it to the council. I don't know if you guys had a chance to walk the neighborhood, but I go out there once a month, and I was inspired by the religious community here in Atwater. Before I was elected, they used to walk out there. They had shirts. They'd walk through the neighborhoods to try to make it safer. Before we make it safer, we got to clean it up. So I think some trash bins, in some way, we're going to have to spend some money to clean up some of the stuff that the landlords won't encourage them to bring the trash to the curb to put in some of these dumpsters. So, city manager, if you can maybe articulate what you guys might do, or before you do that, any comments from the council? Public comment hasn't been open on this yet.
Now, the only comment I really have to say is that, it's an area that needs to be addressed. For as long as I can remember growing up here, nobody's been willing to expend the political capital to take care of it, and I think it's good to see, we actually shining a light on that area.
So after receiving the email from the mayor,
Any other council member want to say anything?
Oh, I was going to say the same thing Brian said. Ever since I remember, it has been a blight in the area. And I agree that we need to do something to, everybody needs to do something, work together to do that.
Mr. Ambrose?
Yeah, same here. I used to know a family that lived out there back when I was in high school, and it seems like it's even gotten worse since then. So, we definitely need to help out the residents that are out there.
Great. City manager, I was going to call you councilwoman.
No, thanks. So,
Not yet.
I gathered our team, which consists of the police chief, public works director, our building official, fire battalion chief, our code enforcement, our city attorney, and also I wanted to include Love Atwater because they were a valuable asset when we went, the first time in that neighborhood, and we did some cleanup out there. They were a lot of help and a lot of resources to us. But I gave them the items that we need to address and a time frame, and everybody took their items, and I'll let them speak to it, but I know that code enforcement already had some open cases in this area, and today he tagged some more, and we'll be continuing. I'll let him talk about that. Public Works and the police chief took a drive tonight and identified some different areas as far as the sidewalks, and I've asked them to give us timelines so they'll be able to report back to you. This is going to be our priority project. We're looking at doing a neighborhood barbecue on October 12th, and I invite the council to be part of that, to be out there and support that neighborhood. That's going to be the week before our fall cleanup, and so I've spoken with Kyle with Republic to get some 20-yard trash bins delivered out there the week before so that we can start putting items in that, and Bernice can schedule some planned overtime for staffing, and I think we'll let Chief or...
How about we start with the attorney and then work that way, if you don't mind? City attorney?
Well, my role, Mayor, will be to support staff. I know that they've been speaking about some of the different ways that they could go, obviously, to clean up this area. I will be making sure to support, as far as our ordinances go, reading our ordinances, looking at also the penalty aspect of it, right? It's not just about cleaning up, but it's also about holding property owners responsible as well, or whoever's responsible for some of this action. But that's going to be my role.
Okay. Chief?
When it
pictures
comes
going.
to these types of blight areas, it is going to take a concerted effort. Short-term fixes don't get long-term results. So what you'll see out of the police department, and I'll let Daniel talk about the cases that he's opened, is there's some major changes to the Atwater Municipal Code that need to be made. And those are things that are going to happen overnight. So I'm going to be working with the city attorney. We already have one ordinance that is in legal now. There'll be several more coming your way over the next 3 to 6 months. And hopefully we'll position the Atwater Municipal Code to be more of a tool to help keep the area in a state that we leave it once we're done cleaning it up. So on a positive note, though, I pulled the statistics for the last 3 years to date in that area as far as criminal statistics. And we've done a really, really good job of crime suppression. Now, that doesn't help the blight issue, it just helps the crime suppression piece. Calls for service in that area have decreased by 32% over the last 4 years. And I have to give credit where credit is due. The major gang investigation, the Scraps case, really put a damper on activity there. Now, we still have it, but it's, according to my people, it's not even close to what it used to be in that area where we were having shootings there on a nightly basis. In the first 8 months of this year, we've only had 431 calls for service within the zone, which is really quite good. It compares favorably with most of our neighborhoods as far as that goes. So if we can get it cleaned up and keep the walls clean and the area clean, I think you'll see even further decreases in calls for service.
Great. Public Works Director Haddix?
I think that after reviewing the area, I think
there's a lot of concerns with sidewalks. We found approximately 5 sidewalks that had been lifted either by trees or by subsurface activity. And the ones with subsurface activity, we don't know exactly what it's going to cost once we open it up to what it's going to repair, how long it's going to take to repair. There was also about 6 areas that we think that we could probably grind down that would make them eliminate the safety issue with those areas. The grinding we can get done, as a matter of days, we can get that done. The uplifted sidewalk is going to take a little longer. And if we do it in-house, it may take us maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks, but we can contract it out. Right now, we're looking at probably about $6,000 to $7,000 to contract it out. The areas weren't as large as I originally thought they were. We have a lot of trees that also will have to be removed because some of the trees are causing the uplifting. So we'll have to remove those and replant more trees, put, the root berries and things like that in. I think that we could probably, by mid or 3rd week of October, we could be done if we can get an RFP out for contracting, but it may take a little bit longer to go through the process for that. But internally, we should be able to accomplish that within the next 2 to 3 weeks. I also was talking with Kyle from Republic regarding the trash receptacles. And we talked about sitting down and developing a plan on how to deal with the trash, how his company is going to deal with the trash, and what our responsibility is going to be with that.
Kyle, can you come up to the podium since we're on that topic? Kyle's with Republic Service. He's our contract trash operator. So Mr. Haddix was talking about how you're going to...
Yes, sir.
How you're going to address the receptacles out there.
Yes. After touring with City Manager and Mr. Haddix about a week and a half ago, had my staff go out and inventory the trash bins are out there. There seems to be about 29 bins out there that are painted over, been graffitied, and continually painted over. None seem to have any major damage, so broken wheels, rusted out bottoms, anything like that. So it'd be basically just a simple swap out. It takes our staff, can do about 6 to 8 bins a week to deliver. They'll have to take one out, bring it back. The delay is going to be in the painting. We've got to take these in to our shop. We have an outside agency that comes in and paints those for us. We're looking at about 6, possibly 8 weeks to do the entire project to get all those bins swapped out.
So
for 13 bins?
30.
30 bins.
So do
30
you
bins.
take those bins and then you're painting those bins? You're not
No,
swapping them
we
with
will bring new
different
ones
bins?
out, take those back. Those will be swapped and repainted, and then once those are done, we'll take those back out and rotate.
So we got
those.
3 guys on the floor right now. We got Haddix, yourself, Peretta. When he brings those bins back and they dump them in the dirt, aren't they supposed to be on some kind of cement hard surface? Instead of just dumping them in the corner of the parking lot in the dirt?
If they were new structures, Mayor, absolutely.
So-
These particular things are done way after that code, or
Okay.
way before that code was done.
Okay, that answers that question.
We place them where the owners ask us to place them. If there is an enclosure, like in new construction, they would go in the enclosure. If not, it's where the owners ask us to place them. We take in consideration parking, we take in consider access for our vehicles, for our trucks to get in and out, and also fire codes.
I mean, because you can look at the pictures as they roll through.
Yep.
There's not 3 dumpsters in the same place at any of those locations. Some are in the back of the parking lot, some are out by the street.
Right.
I think they should visually be in the back of the parking lots. That's something you have to work out with property owners.
Part of it has access. If you see that large dip, if it was in back, our truck would continue to do more damage to that parking lot, and our drivers can't roll those out to the street to get to the truck. So that's something that we have to deal with. Some of the owners don't want us driving into their parking lots, and so we can't do that. They want them out by the street.
Well, we don't want them.
As long as the code allows it to be there, we can't tell them no.
So, question on the code. Do we allow those to be in the public easement, the city easement, They look terrible. If you're looking at those, and we don't want dumpsters all over, they need to be properly placed, at least on the property owners.
Those are part of those codes. Our municipal code's very vague on stuff like that, so we have to tighten that stuff up. That's part of that tightening process.
Okay, so,
Again, Mayor, just need to reiterate, on the way the code is now, if it was a new building, yes, absolutely, they would be behind an enclosure and stuff like that. These are previously done. So, but it doesn't mean that we can't work with property owners in order to establish something that's better suited for the, than what we currently have.
And we'll be happy to work with staff to find a best location that works for us as well as the property owner, and the
if
city.
they see us working together to make that property better for them, they may be willing to work to create something like that.
okay, I think that clears up your questions. Fire chief?
He wasn't involved in the meeting this afternoon. He's going to be part of the team, but he wasn't involved.
Okay.
But we do have code enforcement
Code
here
enforcement, you
as
wanna
well
come up?
I can talk a little bit on the fire side, because I've been working with fire.
Go ahead
if
and
you
come up,
like.
Danny, and Mark can keep
Sure,
talking on
no
that.
problem.
Go ahead, Mark.
Fire department has been going around the city and doing inspections on all the apartment complexes in town. This particular area, they are in the process of getting to. They haven't went in as of yet, but they are due to go in, I think, John, was it this week, next week? I mean, they are right there where they're going to start going into doing their inspections and some of the things that they're going to be doing.
Well, I could tell you from being out there, I don't have the pictures up. There are comm issues with comm cables coming through. There's several boxes that have just this gaggle of wires coming out because Comcast over the years has added and reduced. And you know, those are like safety issues, and there's other, I'm not a building official guy or fire chief, but definitely there's some safety things out there that need to be slowed down and walk through there with
Code
all
enforcement
eyes
can
wide
address
open.
some of those.
Thank you, Mayor. So previously I had 3 outstanding cases in that area. I went out this morning and addressed approximately 10 more properties. All of the citations I currently have are going out to the property owners. The problem I'm running into is when I go out to the fourplexes or the divided fourplexes, is most of the garbage and blight are in common areas on the property, and they're not attached to a specific unit where I can do a individual tenant site for responsibility of that. Again, they're in the general areas. All my citations range from blight to graffiti to some AVA violations. In our meeting earlier, we did address there's considerable wear and tear in the parking lots. Once these intrusions begin in the parking lot, they only get worse. They will never improve over time. So that's another avenue we can get into. As far as the low voltage stuff, the cable wires and the telephone wires are tough. The low voltage electrical doesn't fall into any inspectable permit issue, so it's kind of an open free-for-all regarding the low voltage items. My opinion on enforcing this area, it needs to be enforced aggressively with these citations. The few cases that I have had over there, the property owners either are on radio silent, zero contact, or they work to get the items corrected. Obviously not at the speed that I like, but they are getting it cleaned up slowly. The number one problem I find on the code enforcement on the street citing these is that the property managers are delegating these cleanup duties to tenants, and there is no oversight with that. They are receiving a citation I give, they're going to a tenant saying, hey, I'll knock off $20 if you'll clean the entire property. I think that transaction's taken and there never is any follow-up. So I think we talked previously again down the road, within some code changes of property management requirements within the city for maybe a threshold of 6 apartments or more, but an on-duty manager or somebody to manage the property other than a tenant, in my experience, is they're out to go.
Okay.
Maybe either you or Mark can talk about the awnings over the back of the
Yeah,
apartments.
the awnings and Mark,
Or the
you can-
tarps.
Tarps, yeah. I find tarps are very blightful. A lot of people use them for a host of reasons. But again, tarps only deteriorate over time. I spoke with fire personnel. I know in my previous employment, the tarps were always a safety concern. If fire personnel has to make their way down the side of the building with equipment, to slow down, remove that tarpage from the buildings, they don't have the manpower to start doing that. So it's a blight issue, but it's also a safety issue. And the big concern I have watching that, just on the side note, as you scroll through the pictures, the refrigerators and closable items are a huge safety concern. You mentioned kids are out playing, kids playing around freezers shut. That's bad. So I think in the morning, first thing, I think we could find a couple big, huge rolls of duct tape, get those at least closed for just a super quick fix. But to me, that's a huge safety concern. There are freezers and refrigerators.
Okay. City Manager?
Another thing that we didn't talk about, but the lighting in that area, we're already working with PG&E to look at increasing the lighting with maybe the LEDs. Our IT project manager has been looking and will work with Chief as far as some demos on cameras out there where we can place them, but we have to increase the lighting before the cameras will work properly. But again, we look to hold a barbecue cleanup on Saturday, October 12th. We'll have some scheduled overtime for our guys. We'll work with Republic to get them out there, and I encourage council to come and be a part of it. And we'll include Love Atwater as well.
And one last thing, Mayor, if I may suggest, any sort of community outreach or anything regarding a cleanup or a barbecue. Again, my prior experience tells me it's very beneficial to prepare some flyers and to hand walk those flyers within the community, put them on the door. It gets people interacting with the tenants, maybe the property owners. It's a perfect opportunity to start talking about it. I would request that I have the opportunity to at least go start taping them on doors for any notifications or anything like that.
So, council, it's going to come back to you right now. We agendize this.
Mayor, I think it's also important that we get the neighborhood involved. That it needs to be they need to be part of the cleanup for it to work successfully as well. So that notification process is going to be important.
Agreed. Well, I think council needs to let you guys, all you department heads, do your job. But tonight, the council needs to take some action by giving the city manager some direction. This isn't going to be free. This is not in the city budget. This wasn't planned for. But I do believe it's a public health and safety issue on numerous issues, as we can all see. So I want some discussion from the council on what you guys expect. I would expect by the 15th of October, with some focus in this area, we're talking 3 weeks, that a lot of these issues, maybe not all, maybe the public works director probably has the biggest load to carry, but 99% of this should be done within 3 weeks. If you're going to do things in-house, you know, the initiation of sidewalks is important. The continuation to execute is important. That drop-dead deadline of the 15th, maybe that goes beyond for that. But the other stuff, I think that I personally like to set a drop-dead date of October 15th, that these department heads need to get out there, they need to execute, and we need to hold them accountable to do their job, but we also need to make sure that we provide the city manager with direction so that they can get the resources they need to execute. So I'll start with any comments from Raymond. Well, let's do public comment real quick. So any members of the public like to come forward at this time on this item? Please come forward.
I don't speak in front of a city council that often.
Put the microphone. That's fine. Welcome.
So I just want to say hi. City Attorney, I think it's a good idea to put in a notice of noncompliance and let the lender be aware of this. This is a waste issue, and they can go through the default process. All those photos are just property management issues. So if the lender is notified, that starts the default process, and then the owner, which I didn't hear anybody talk about the property owner's responsibility in this challenge. But if you make it the lender's responsibility, they'll enforce waste on the property, and there's obvious waste going on there. And a fridge that's open, I'm a 30-year lender. That's the
Did
For
you
a
state your
typical
name?
issue. Oh, hi, my name's Robert Waldo.
Welcome, Robert.
Hi, I mean, by email and by prior discussion, we've talked, but again, it's a notice of noncompliance. I see those all the time, throw them on title, all the economics, their force behind that, enforce it with the economics and keep detailed notes, and then go through the default process. Because once you've got that on title, that starts that. So it's a 90-day, it can become a vendor ally issue as well. So, thanks, guys.
Thank you for your comments. Any other members of the public like to come forward at this time on this agenda item? Good.
Mayor, council members, Jermaine Pastor again. It's real interesting to be able to see this because I did a lot of growing up in that neighborhood. Probably all those fences and stuff that you guys showed up there, I probably spent a lot of time jumping them. And so it's real important for me, just really want to be a part of building them up and fixing them. I think what the young man, alluded to, coming in, not really sneaking up on the residents there, but giving them some kind of flyer, some type of awareness to let them know that we're coming. With that, I hope that we can give them a buy-in to want to help out. I think the reason why that community is the way it is because they feel like no one's cared. And when you look outside your door and you see that, it's easy to continue to be disruptive and to add to the junk and everything that's out there. So I think that it's an excellent idea going forward in cleaning that community up, but really getting a buy-in from the residents there. As well as the owners. I think your guys spoke about it earlier, that once we start doing these things, that the owners might be a little bit more open to wanting to help out. And I really hope that that's the case. The chief spoke a little bit earlier to longevity, and so speaking on that, I would like possibly that there be a discussion about a community center opening up. And they have one similar in the Merced area that's in the Loughborough area that I think helps out a little bit. But I think some good things can happen from that community center as it relates to kind of owning your neighborhood and giving back and having service providers come in and doing different things like that. I think when we speak about longevity, that the residents want to keep up the place, and that's the goal. We come in there and all the money is spent and everything, and that happens, and then it goes right back down the turnpike. And so my thing is contributing to that cleanup, but having the residents to wanting to keep that up because they have to live there every day. Right.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jermaine. I wanted to make just the comment too that collaboration with Bellevue School, which is right across the street there, is important, and we'll reach out to them as well. And they were a big part when Love Atwater, and we did the cleanup in that neighborhood previously. So we'll make sure that they're involved.
That's a great gathering point. So,
We'll definitely take a part in that as well. So
any other members of the public like to come forward?
I do. My name
Welcome.
is Andrea Dallas, and there's a spot there between Cedar and Packers on Park and Packers, and it's on Cedar where the water tower is. It's very dark there at night. There isn't a light there at all for that little section there.
Okay.
And so there's a lot of people that park there at night, and that really needs to be lit up. Also, its speed sign should be there. There is nothing. People fly through there at 50 miles an hour. I've seen it. So that's a real issue. Also, too, I'm not sure if you're addressing all the trash that's here in Atwater, along by Chevron, along that little strip right back in there. There's a ton of trash. And I don't know.
Sycamore?
I don't know if
So,
anybody's.
man, we're speaking about
Yeah, I know.
this
The
item,
light,
but
and safety
we'll get with the
stuff.
Public Works Director, and he'll
Okay.
get with
Okay,
you.
well, just
If you
not-
could meet with him after the meeting.
Okay, will do.
Thank you. Any other members of the public on this item? Seeing none, we'll close the public comment. Bring it back to council for discussion and what you guys like to see done out there and how.
You want, the next meeting, I'd like to hear again from everybody as to what they have accomplished and the things that they have not accomplished, maybe an action plan with a projected date of accomplish, individual things that they are going to assist to make this better, because this is sad. This is very sad.
Ambrose?
An update at the next meeting would be great. If we want to give them a deadline, October 15th does seem reasonable. As for the October 12th event, definitely let me know what time this is going to start, and I'll head out there. We really do need to have the community buy-in on this, though. We can't just go in and think that we're going to do this, wonderful thing for them, but if they're not going to buy in, it's never going to change. So we definitely need to reach out to the residents there.
I'd like to identify a time to hold it, because October 12th, our next meeting will not be until October 14th, so I want to make sure that we have everybody on record, so that everybody knows what time. 8 o'clock out there on Saturday, October 12th?
8 o'clock a.m.?
A.m. Yes, please.
Raymond?
I agree with Councilman Ambrose and Jermaine. Without the community buy-in, I mean, it's great, we're talking about it, we want to do something over there and show them that we actually care, all for it, but we do need to get the community buy-in. So I don't know how, Danny mentioned door-to-door, doing whatever we have to do in that aspect, so we'll see. And we do have to look at the financial part as well.
Okay. Is that it? Okay, I agree also. Nothing's going to be successful unless they're aware, and I know when you guys make contact with them, they're going to be smiling from ear to ear because they do want to make a change out there. And I think that we keep the timeline short because we can get lost in the weeds and find reasons why we can't do things. I like what Cale said about action plan. I don't think we need to wait for that. I think city manager can be delegated with this whole agenda item and task, and we can be updated at the next council meeting. I think we got enough professionals in the room that are now aware of this, that know it's now their job to take care of this. The public buy-in, the notification, the Love Atwater, I think the Lions Club, there's civic organizations in town that would be beneficial if we could contact them also. I think there's several businesses that would probably potentially donate. The hard line on the 15th, I think we should see I want to hold that date. We should see some major differences. Maybe we don't accomplish everything because, as the code enforcement officer said, we need to change some things. Banker was talking about maybe some verbiage. There's some good things coming out of this. So there's a direction that we're getting. I don't know what that exact direction execution is, but I do know that this team that we have can make stuff happen as long as we give them the tools they need. And I think the city manager, with maybe not to exceed amount combined for everything of $18,000, could make some things happen out there. So that's my direction, would be to give direction to the city manager to execute what needs to be done out there, up to $18,000 with printing and maybe some roll-off bins, and Kyle's going to be able to get things scheduled out there so that after we make contact with the people, maybe some of us can go out there to lift those mattresses up if they need help with it, maybe some Love Atwater. But public contact, the trash company, staff, you let us know where we can jump in and help out. I'm willing to lift and do things. And $18,000 and try to hit that 15th deadline. Do I have a second on that?
I'll second, and I'm with you. I'll go out there and help.
Call for the question.
Kale?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Subsequent need item agenda, the approving an urgency purchase order to Shannon Pump Company for repair of the vertical turbine pump at City Water Well number 18, Haddix.
Several weeks ago,
Chief,
pumps and
microphone, please.
vertical pump in well 18, we found it to be leaking, dripping at first, and then eventually, over a period of maybe a couple of other inspections, they found that it was spraying water. So they called a contractor to come out, take a look at it, and give them a price on what it would cost to repair this piece of equipment. At that time, we were looking at an amount of, I think he recommended about, his original estimate was around 25,000, and that was just an estimate. But we come to realize that we may need to extend that a little bit, and so we're looking at an amount not to exceed $34,070. And that would be materials, labor, equipment to repair the vertical pump. I think that part of the discussion that we had with the contractor, he found that the damaged shaft spider, the rubber bearings, the motor bearings, significant wear of the bow shaft, impellers, 2 bow bearings, difficulty with disassembling the unit, and then once he did get it disassembled, it was damage to a 10-foot piece of column pipe and all the pipe couplings. The head shaft had excessive wear, the shaft packing and discharge heads and upper and lower motor bearings needs replacement. The motor frame and base needs to be dipped and baked because of the heat that it goes through. And the motor oil, sight glass, so you could check the amount of motor oil needs to be replaced. On the 20th of this month, staff communicated with the pump company regarding the work that needed to be done. This item is being presented as a subsequent needs item because it requires immediate action that came to the attention of City Council meeting agenda posted after it was posted, and we cannot wait for the next council meeting to get the repairs done.
Thank you. I'll open up to public comment this time. Any members of the public on this item come forward? Seeing none, I'll close the public comment.
Mayor, can I also identify that even though there's sufficient funding in this year's budget, following our, in accordance with our purchasing system manual, that's the reason why we're bringing this item to you as an urgency purchase and going without the competitive bid process.
Sole source, right? Because of the uniqueness of the, okay. Council? Any comments, direction? What?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead, Brian.
Motion to approve staff's recommendation is presented.
Second. Okay, second by Kale, first by Raymond.
Kale?
Yes.
Ambrose?
Yes.
Raymond?
Yes.
Creighton?
Yes.
Motion passes.
At this time, we'll open up public comments on anything. Members of the public?
At this time, any person may comment on any item which is not on the agenda. Bless you. You may state your name and address for the record, however, it is not required. Action will not be taken on an item that is not on the agenda. If it requires action, it will be referred to staff and/or placed on a future agenda. Please limit comments to a maximum of 3 minutes. No, we do not.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. My name is Robert Waldow. I actually own the land behind Bellevue Bowl. And I came up this evening really just as a listening session. I'm not from this community, but yet I have an opportunity to have a significant impact on this community. So as I sit here and listen, it's very valuable for me. And one of the things that actually I thought was interesting that came up was the individual property in question that we talked about. It makes me furious.
Right.
Okay, it makes me furious. And not because it's the tenant's responsibility. The tenants pay rent. The landlord and the property owner has a responsibility to that property. And the easiest way to be able to get that landlord to move is to bother their lender. You'll see that happen as a 90-day result. So just put a notice of noncompliance against title, review title, see who the lender is, give them a call and say, hey, look, there's waste. All right, so then, again, it's a listing process for me, and I've introduced myself to you, Paul, and Bass and
Yes.
as well. But again, it's nice to be in the community for an evening.
Thank you for coming and great
Yeah.
comments.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can do a project.
There's line of sight there.
There is.
Lori Johnson, I'm sorry, my phone's getting ready to die and my speech is on my phone. Okay. It doesn't happen very often, but I want you to know sometimes there is no difference between a politician and an ordinary citizen. Atwater being a small town, we have a better opportunity than big cities to show something called human kindness. It's sad, but it turns out to be a bridge too far for some people. My husband and I have endured some pretty harsh treatment from the city officials, like the time a bunch of goons with badges and blue uniforms stormed my property without any legal authority, stole my property and assaulted my husband when he tried to stop them. Then there is a long line of arrogant city managers, ending with the one sitting up there on the dais with this smug look on her face, who made sure our house had no running water, and it didn't stop there. One of those heartless people even tried to get the public health department to condemn our house. Can you believe that? Of course, public health refused to have any part of their stupidity. Some of you have really tested my faith in local government at times. You have shown that you have no idea what human kindness is. Yet sometimes there are exceptions, some really big exceptions. Recently, my roof was in need of work, but because of our financial condition, we had little hope of a speedy repair. Fortunately, there are good people in our community that are willing to help each other. That's when an Atwater neighbor knocked on our door and offered his help. I was shocked and surprised to see, of all people, it was the mayor of Atwater. He graciously offered to provide the material for the roof, and that's not all. He said he would cover the cost himself. So with some very expensive equipment and professional grade material, the work was completed in short time. I want you to know one thing. It wasn't really a man with a title who stepped in and helped us. It was an Atwater neighbor named Paul Creighton. So I want the public to know of Mr. Creighton's generosity and his Christian display of human kindness. And I want to say thank you, Paul. You have my heartfelt gratitude. And Brian Raymond was out there too. And I want to thank you too, because you guys were really helpful and you guys were really kind when you came out. So, and about where you guys were talking about the proposal for the cleanup of that area, I have a really good one, and I'll have it to you on Friday. But it's to help perfect that, because I see in other communities what they're doing to get together to perfect the community involvement. So,
Thank you.
thank you.
Good evening, Mayor and City Council. Richard Johnson, 1675 Drakely Avenue. I'm here tonight mostly to support my wife, who has been extremely busy and overwhelmed with paperwork on these cases, speaking at meetings, and trying to help make Atwater grow in a positive direction. We are asking that the City of Atwater's insurer or risk management, along with corrupt ex-mayor Price and many other corrupt city officials, be investigated. I don't know if you have internal affairs here. I don't think you guys do. Or do you? Oh, they don't. Okay. Okay, yeah, because that risk management, they really do need to be investigated, along with whoever is going in, doing what they're doing to us. Risk management denies every claim that we turn in whenever there's a crime and there's damage to my property or whatever the case may be. They deny every claim. They even denied a claim concerning the illegal raid on our property when they took me to jail because I was exercising my First Amendment rights, free speech. And I beat those charges because I know I was innocent, so we beat those charges along with many other charges, only to be charged with another crime. 5 years of our lives, we totally gone. We'll never see those back. I was going to bring up the fact about the state hearing attorney, her ruling that was in our favor from 2015. And I don't know if the city just covered it up, or the city, the risk management, they just didn't want it out there. That's why the media, positive press is good, but when there's only positive press and there's so much bad things that are happening to a family, have grandkids, my kids are all grown up, doing well, and then we come here and our lives are destroyed for no reason other than we started protesting. It's a damn shame. It is a shame. We've had to endure so much hardship and damage to our lives, even all the way to the point where we just about lost our house. We saved it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any other members of the public like to come forward at this time?
Hello, council members, mayor. My name is Wendy Ward, and I live somewhere in Elm. Okay, I'm here for Atwater Community Cats. Hey, Chief. Hi. This is concerning the halt of the program where the city was paying for the neutering and spaying of the cats in the program. I don't know what you guys have been informed about, but I'm staying in touch with, I guess I'll call her our coordinator, Lori Chavez, and I know the chief has been in contact with her. He knows what's going on, and the only person in this room that was here maybe when this was going on was Miss Waterman. I know she was working for the city, but I don't know how involved she was with knowing anything that was going on. But we established the program in, I believe, February, March of 2015. Joan Fall made it her personal business to see this program get started. I have no idea what went on. I was a feeder. That's why we got involved, because the city wanted to pass this disgusting ordinance that was going to make it illegal and fine us caretakers. And we got a group together, and we came up here and we told them, go, you can write us a ticket every day. We're not paying the tickets, and we're not going to stop feeding the cats. So they came to an agreement that they would help us do this. They bought us some traps. We started going. As of right now, Lori Chavez, our coordinator, she does the transporting of the cats to Monte Vista in Turlock, because no veterinarian would do the low cost, that they were the lowest. She said we've done over 2,000 cats here in Atwater. That was her number. She didn't give me a specific because she wanted to be here, but something came up. My area is downtown. I do 6 stops every night. I'm on a bike, okay? And I can tell you, Chief, you're doing a good job because I feel safe out there. I have no issues with anybody. I'm feeding 60 cats. That's right, 60 cats every evening. And we were maintaining the colonies. Now they are jumping up. You stopped the program in July. The cats that we had set up to be fixed were born in April. We do have females. We can't catch everybody. I have 6 new additions right now. Those kittens are coming up. They could go into heat anytime. They were born in late April. I have a paper here. It explains you have 1 cat. She gives birth to 4. That's a small litter because there could be up to 7. 8 months later, you have 12 cats, and then 16 months later, you have 36 cats. And that's just a little rough visual thing that somebody scanned for me.
Thank you.
I don't know what's going to happen with the program when Chief gets together, but you guys need to get together with us. I understand that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Please do something. Continue the program.
Hello, I'm Andrea. I also am a feeder. I'm a trapper. And when I do trap these cats, the cats are not released the next day. They have to stay somewhere. They've been operated on, and they come to my house. I have 2 bedrooms. I turn one into a holding spot for 3 nights. So that's at any cost to the city. We'll do this because we have a big heart. We love animals. And I hope you can keep this going on. We need something, but I prefer that we had veterinarians that work out of our city or Merced. And to go to Turlock, we'll do it. We'll continue doing it, but it's a shame it can't be handled here. So, thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public?
Hi, Marianne Amarant. I'm on Emily Way. I've got lights out all over Emily Way and Karen, the cross-section there, so I have a new overnight guest that has a really big fuzzy blanket that kind of likes to hang out by my fence, so I'm kind of a little bit concerned about that. Also, I was wanting to know if it would be possible for the city council or Mr. Haddix to give some kind of an update regarding the TCP, where we are, if we're in the process of, if we've gotten the money yet from our settlement. I know that there was an issue in May that we were treating, I believe, well 15 for TCP, 123 TCP at that time. Well 20 at one time. I think we hired an engineering company that was taking, was it Pritchard and Provost or Provost and Pritchard, that was doing some kind of engineering. I'm just curious if we're getting our ducks in a row as far as looking at all of our wells and what we can do as far as, so once we do get that settlement, that we can move faster. I appreciate everyone's passion on taking care of that area, because it's obviously sad, but I would really love the passion to take care of this water issue, because I am concerned about it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Council and Mayor and heads of departments. My name is Denise Cammers, and I live over on Olive Avenue. I also am a feeder of the cats, and I have a friend that couldn't be here tonight that is also a feeder of the cats, and she's taken as many as 15 kittens that have been born in these colonies, and 4 most recently from one of the colonies that I feed, that we're trying to get them adopted out to homes that will take care of them and fix them. But in the interim, we do have a lot of females that are not fixed, and we're just hoping that this program, the Trap Neuter Release program, goes through, because like they mentioned before, we have had many cats that have been fixed in the last 4 years, and it's really helped bring the colonies down. And also, for the city, it costs $98 plus to euthanize a cat. And it's like $40 to fix a female and $20 to fix a male. And then, you know, I mean, outside cats don't live a long life, but, you know, we are feeding them, and we're paying for all of this out of our own pockets, including the amount of money that it costs for us to go back and forth to Turlock to take care of this, you know. So, I mean, we do have funding in separate places, you know, that people will donate, but honestly, we're paying out of our own pocket. I've put out over $200 in the last 3 months alone, just for food. So, you know, we don't mind taking care of the cats. We just hope that you will help us take care of the colonies by keeping them down. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public like to come forward at this time?
Yes. Again, Jermaine Pastor with SWAG, with Students with Aspiring Goals. I'm the just so that you guys know, I'm the mentoring coordinator for Students with Aspiring Goals. And so we work with academics, mentoring, and national exposure for our athletes in Merced County. And it's been a great, you know, honor for me to be able to do that. But more so for me personally, I've been able to step back into the juvenile system. I'm at the Merced County Juvenile Hall working with kids that are, of course, system involved. Alongside probation, also working alongside the district attorney's office, working with kids that are what we like to say that are on the fence, working character building programs, leadership, just trying to be there to, you know, support them, you know, the best way we can to give them a new direction in life. That's why this, with the cleanup at the, for the determined area is very close to my heart. That's something that I definitely want to be a part of. I know all the issues here today are very important. I've been able to sit in for this the whole time, and I just want to take my hat and tip my hat to you guys for what you guys do. You guys are, you have a big, a big plate of responsibilities and a lot of fires that need to be putting out. So I want to, take my hat off to you for that. But just very concerned with a lot of these issues. They're very close to my heart. I've grown up here. I was speaking earlier to Mrs. Waterman that my mom's 80 years old here. She was pretty much born and raised here. So the concerns with the city and the things that are going on are real issues, and they're issues that are important to me and that are important to my family. But like I tell a lot of my friends that if you don't vote, you don't have a voice. So it's important to do that. And so, we know a lot. I drive around a lot, and I see a lot of the concerns and problems that are going on in the city. And if you're not willing to take a stand and be a part of fixing them, then you really have no comment and you don't have a voice. At least that's how I feel. So thank you for what you guys do. I really appreciate it, and I look forward to, continuing to working with you guys to beautify this city. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other members of the public like to come forward at this time? There's one left. Ellen, do you want to come up? See none, we'll close the public comment and bring it back to council matters. City council comments. Cale.
Well, congratulations for the new fire truck. I look forward to those guys having a truck that they can run off and, like you said, Mayor, start and go out the gate. We definitely need those things. And then I'm making my comment short so I can get on the road. I'm leaving right after this meeting and driving to Vegas to be with my former shipmates at the Navy reunion tomorrow morning. So, but I want to leave you with this. Love the trees until their leaves fall off. And then encourage them to try again next year. We should do that with our kids and family members who fall down too. That's it, thanks.
Ambries?
I don't know about you, but I feel like talking really slow. I would like to congratulate Kelly on coming and working with us here in Atwater. As for the October 12th community barbecue, I'm pretty sure my family and I will be there to help out. Quick plug out for the movie in the park, which is this Saturday. Roslyn Park, I believe.
6 p.m.
We're going to start grilling at 6 p.m. or start serving at 6 p.m.
And then movie.
And then the movie will be at dusk, right?
7:30.
7:30. Oh, that's close enough. So come on out, enjoy our last movie for this year, right?
Who's feeding everybody?
You are, right?
We are.
Yeah, the council will be
hot dogs and drinks.
We'll be serving the hot dogs, water, Secret Lives of Pets 2.
Which is not out. Nobody's seen that yet, unless you go to the movie theater. So you guys better come down to the park.
It's at Roslyn's Park on 3rd and...
No cats allowed.
3rd and Grove or 3rd and... That's all I got.
That was a joke. They're laughing. You have no sense of humor. Raymond?
Kelly, welcome. Again, like I've heard nothing but good things about you. That dirt you have on Darren I'll take. That's even better. Jermaine, glad to have you here. What time is it? 8:53. So John's got places to go. So I figured I'll just filibuster for a minute. I already missed the Bears game. Thanks, Paul.
You should have said nothing.
Hey, don't worry about my personal safety.
Well, that's it.
Are you sure? Yeah. Well, I've got about 15 things I need to go over.
Oh, God.
But I just want to really thank Kelly for joining our team. It's important that we have a team and that we're all going the same direction. Hopefully you can jump in and help these guys out too with what we're trying to accomplish out there and other areas of town. That's all I have to say. And also, movie in the park, Saturday. Your city council's buying hot dogs and chips and sodas for you guys and water. The local faith-based community is putting on the Secret Lives of Pets 2, which is not out there for everybody, so come to the park and see it. And just meet your neighbor. That's really what it's about. It's about community, so you can't get any better than that. So I'll close the meeting with that. Thank you.